Hello, how are you? Welcome back to another episode of the Walking Podcast with me.
And Aden. And in today's episode, what's today's episode actually?
We're going to talk about the topic test.
Yes, we are, because I'm finally taking my first topic test. I'm finally popping the cherry, you know? Been in Korea for a long time, but never felt the need. And to be honest, I don't really need it either. Like, because most people take it either for... Okay, first of all, let's kind of back up for a second, because maybe
Most
our
people
listeners...
don't know what the topic test is.
So I'm sure most people are familiar with TOEFL or TESOL, or is there another English? IELTS. So this is the Korean version of that, where you get tested on your Korean language skills, and with that, it gives you certain benefits. And you are a veteran because you took so many of those tests. Like how many times did you do it? Like 4?
The topic? I've done the topic 4 times, and I've done similar tests, like level placement tests, a few times.
Okay, so...
But it's been a very long time since I've last done one.
Right.
Like 3 years?
Mm-hmm. So in this episode, what I want to talk about is what are some of the pros and cons of doing the topic. Why do people take it? Why don't people take it? We'll kind of talk about when you first did it and what you've noticed through the years that you've taken it. And I'm going to be talking about my experience with Korean language and, taking my first test. So with that being said, let's start with the first thing. So when was the first time you ever taken the topic test?
Oh, it's gotta be my second year. Yeah, when I moved to Wonju, Gangwon-do.
So what is that? That's like
That was 8 years ago?
2016?
Yeah.
17? I don't know.
20 should have been around end of 2016 or 2017.
So you did it in, was it Wonju?
Yeah, no. Oh, where did I do it? Oh, I don't remember where I did it.
What do you mean?
I don't remember if it was Chuncheon, if it was the Wonju's Yonsei University campus. I don't remember. It was so long ago.
Why didn't you do it in Wonju?
Because they don't usually have like places in Gangwon. Usually you have to go to somewhere, and that's the problem. Usually when you're living in a countryside, you have to take the test in another city, because the placements and the seats available are usually limited to places with big universities or some kind of universities. Gotta be.
Yeah, I noticed that.
It's always mostly in universities, and the most seats are in Seoul and the areas surrounding Seoul.
What was the process like back then?
It was pretty much the same. The only difference was topic 1 to... So the test is from 1 to 6.
Mm-hmm.
So 1 is the lowest, is a beginner, and then it goes up to 6, which is like a fluent.
So wait, what do you mean? So they kind of separate it?
So the separation came in later. If at the beginning it was topic 1 to 6 together.
Just one big chunk.
One big test.
Oh wow, okay.
And so later on I don't remember which year it was, but they decided to chunk it up. So they went topic 1 and 2 was named topic 1, and then 3 to 6 was topic 2.
Okay, so the one that we signed up to
is topic 2,
which
3 to
is
6.
Oh, is it?
Right. And with 3 to 6, unless you get level 3 and above, you don't get marked for it. So if you get anything below level 3 you get nothing.
It's like pointless.
Yeah,
why do they even have an option for
No,
topic
because
1?
you have to distinguish between total beginners and people who have had some experience. Personally, this system is nice, but I don't feel it's the most ideal, and I've told you several times why, especially for people in like the 5 and 6 category who are now competing for a place. So if we track back a bit, let's first tell the audience what the topic test is. So the topic test is a test of proficiency in Korean.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's 1 to 6. And the test, similar to the Japanese, what's the Japanese test called?
I have no idea. I haven't taken that before.
What was it called again? The JLPT?
You mean the Onigashimasu test?
Anyways, yeah. So it's a language test to see how well or how well versed you are in a language. And so most foreigners come into Korea, take the test, and it's a test for foreigners, non-native speakers. And so
I wonder. Wait, hold up. By non-native speaker, would a Korean person born in LA be able to take the topic
of
test?
course, but it depends on how good their Korean is.
What do you mean?
So you may be Korean, but you may not be a native speaker.
Yeah.
It may be technically, it may be your language, your mother language, your mother tongue, but you may not be fluent in it.
No, but how
Like
would they?
Your
So if they have Korean nationality, they wouldn't be able to.
Oh, I see where you're coming from. All right, that I don't know.
What if they have dual nationality?
Because I've never seen a Korean person actually do it. So, and then that's where we get to why do people do the test? And I feel like this has like a major part in why I don't see like people in that category taking the test.
Gyopos.
Right, Gyopos. I've never seen a Korean person take the test unless they're willing to challenge themselves. So let's get into the reasons why foreigners would want to take tests. The most common reason, most of the time, which I've personally seen, is people getting into university.
Yeah.
And in Korea, university, there's two types. You can go through the English route or you can go through the Korean route. And especially for people going through the Korean route who want to study in Korean, they need to show they're proficient in the language.
What's the level they want you to have?
And so you need to have at least a level 5.
For real?
I think a 4 could get you in, but you'd have to take like extra Korean classes. But typically,
5. So basically, you gotta be at the top.
Right. So a 5 would get you things like good scholarship and a good chunk of your tuition paid, and a bunch of like extra benefits.
Oh, so they provide people benefits if they get a high level.
Good benefits. There's two types of benefits as a university student.
What?
You're either good at Korean, or you're good within like the like you place high in a percentage of like you're in like the top 5% or the top 1%, and based on that you get either 100% of your tuition is paid or 50% is paid.
That much.
And so I've known like people who've had 100% of their tuition being paid because they're in top 1% within their course.
But those people, they don't necessarily do it in Korea. They do it back in their home country, right?
And then there's that, right? So within there, most people before coming, they'll do some Korean courses and then do the test and then come in.
Right.
And then you have others who basically once they come to Korea, they do the test in like a very short amount of time. There are people who learn Korean, like especially like I've known Chinese students who've learned Korean in 3 to 6 months, and they've got like the highest level, scored level 6. 3 to 5 months. And the crazy thing is, it's doable.
No, it is, yeah.
It's doable.
You just gotta walk in.
Right. But the good thing going for especially Chinese people is, when it comes to Korean language, there's two types. There's the common, like everyday used language, and then there's the one that originates from what we call Hanja, the Chinese characters.
Right.
And because they're fluent in those Chinese characters, which basically sound exactly the same, except it's a little bit different in how you pronounce it. It's a little bit different. For them, it's really easy to pick it up.
Yeah.
And so, especially so, when you get to the higher level, level 6, and you've got the most difficult parts in the test, these words that originate from the Chinese words, you find there's a bunch of them. And so this is where they thrive, literally.
Yeah.
Whereas most other people suffer. Like I suffer in those areas because these words, I have no clue what they are.
Right.
And so they do well because of that. And so as long as they take care of the easy part, the hard part is like a breeze for them.
So they've done it basically in reverse.
Literally, yeah.
So for them, the hard part is
the easy part.
Yeah. Okay.
So they just got to take care of the easy part, which is like a good thing for them.
Right.
And so they've got that done. So, and then you have people who start from scratch and they basically just grit through it and they get the job done. And
all right, let's kind of slow down for the audience.
Yeah.
So basically, we know that the levels have kind of been moving around a lot. Like you said, the first time it was just one big test, and depending on your score, you're that level. Now, when I did it, there was like level 1 and level 2. And I remember you saying level 2 is where it matters.
Not so much.
Because level 1, what the hell are you going to do with
No,
level
what are
1?
you going to do with level 2 too?
No, but level 2 is basically 3 plus, right?
What do you mean 3 plus?
In terms of like your actual topic level. It goes from 3 level, 4, 5, 6.
Oh,
right?
you mean right. So we're talking about so topic 1, which includes level 1 and 2. This one is basically useless.
Yeah.
This is just like ABCs and, oh, do you know the cat went into the house, or I ate an apple, kind of stuff. Basic stuff.
What I mean by useless is that
you can't do much with it.
There's no benefit in doing it.
Right. With like visa points,
yeah,
you don't get many points.
Visa.
You get like the least points.
How much is it?
I don't remember. It was like 5 or 10. No, hold on. If level 4 is 15 points and level 3 is 10 points, then I think level 2 is like 5 points.
I mean, that's still a lot.
And then level 5 and 6, you get 20 points.
Yeah.
And 20 points is a lot of points. Because having a university degree in sciences gets you 17. And having a humanities degree gets you 15 points. So 20 points is a lot of points. 20 points is someone who has a master's degree in science.
Yeah.
And that's valued in Korea. And so you can imagine getting 20 points from doing a test. Yeah, you set real good.
So basically, that's how they kind of separate the test. Okay, so I want to talk about the experience that I had signing up to this. First of all, their website, I don't like it. Very confusing. They're very sensitive with your information in terms of like there's a lot of like go around in a circle, but that's kind of a thing in Korea. And the thing I also found it really frustrating is, like you said, they open the test at a certain time. Not at a convenient time, not on a weekend.
On a weekday.
Yeah, it's on a weekend. It's always a weekday in the morning.
Right.
Where you have to, like...
be on time.
Yeah, because even if you're kind of late, maybe not even really late, like 10 minutes, 5 minutes late, expect to wait. Like, how long did you wait, like, when you signed up?
I logged in at 10:05.
No, the first time you ever did it.
What do you mean?
When the first time you did it, you didn't have to wait?
Oh, no. Every time there's a wait. So one of the times, the website crashed.
Okay.
Like, it literally crashed. And so every time you'd have to close the browser, restart it up again, and then it puts you further back.
Yeah.
In a waiting line. And so you can imagine, like, thousands of people. And when I say thousands, I mean thousands. Like, how many were on yours when you were doing it?
I don't know, 2,000?
Mine started at 4,000 people. 4,000 somewhat people.
And this is just in Korea.
And then this is limited to Korea.
Yeah, this is just Korea.
We're not talking about global. We're talking about just Korea.
Yeah.
4,000 people on the website trying to get all the spots. And what happened? Even though it opened at 10 o'clock and we're on 10:05, by the time it loaded, it was like well past 10:40. It was like close to 10. It was 10:47. And then what do I find? Everything is taken except for like what was that place? Jeollanam-do?
Just
like
outskirt,
like there was like a few seats like here and there. And was the place we're going to the only one available?
That had the most seats. Oh, one of the most seats.
That had the most seats, and so I remember it had 133, and
when I
thinking,
checked, it was like 400 or something.
It was 400. Okay, when I checked, it was 133.
Yeah.
So I'm just thinking, why could they not just make more seats in Seoul? Like,
yeah, that part
like,
I don't understand.
why don't they just make more universities available for us up here instead of having people go to these nowhere places, like in the middle of nowhere? Because I have no idea where this place is.
Yeah.
It's past Daegu or is like...
It's underneath... No, it's not Daegu. It's
Daejeon?
underneath Daejeon.
Okay, yeah, it's pretty far. Yeah, it's like
it's
in the middle of nowhere.
It's like that province of Daejeon.
Some countryside university.
Yeah,
I'm not complaining about the university. I'm just complaining about...
It's going to be a unique place because I haven't been down there. I haven't been to that. I mean... Yeah, I haven't been to that corner, I guess. Either. So I'm kind of like excited to check out that small town, see what it has to offer. But yeah, it doesn't really make any sense why honestly, they don't have more. I mean, Seoul does have the most places, but I don't understand
They
why it does
need
shouldn't be majority.
more.
Cause let's break it down. Seoul has what, 52 million people, or Korea has like 52 million people. 50% of the country lives in the Seoul greater area, like 52% of the population. So, and that would be the same with foreigners. Most of the foreigners, like I would say, honestly,
Concentrated
80,
in Seoul and its
80%,
vicinities.
90% are in the Seoul greater area, which includes Seoul, Gyeonggi, and Incheon. So, by not having more locations within those spaces and allocating, spots in these like middle of nowhere places, it makes no sense. It makes no sense. But then again, I feel like those universities that do open those spots, they do have a lot, maybe have a lot of foreigner students from like where your boys were from, Kazakhstan or like Vietnam or Thailand or whatever they're from. And so I feel like I have a very strong suspicion that when we go to this like small country town, there's going to be a lot of like foreigners there. Maybe not just for the test, but just there. And I think that's going to be interesting.
Probably, though. I've never heard of this place before.
Me neither, but like I don't know if I was telling it was in our previous episode, but there's a lot of foreigners who live in these outskirts, mostly in Gyeonggi though, but they do exist in other smaller towns. But
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
But anyway, so we finally got in. We finally just chose the only place that had a lot of, that wasn't too far from Seoul. Um, but the thing I guess I found it odd is if you're a student, I feel sorry for you. Because let's say, because you need this basically to get like a lot of benefits in Korea. But if you get stuck in a place where it's like really far from your campus, A, you're probably not the richest kid. B, okay, first of all, let me kind of like go back. This is my theory. The foreigners that do take Korean language courses are not Westerners.
No.
Yeah, they're not.
It's rare to see a Westerner taking the test.
Yeah,
and I
it's not for
always
Westerners.
feel like I'm the only.
I mean, you could talk about your experience.
Yeah, I was going to those tests, and it's mostly, especially people from Southeast Asia or Greater Asia, like Mongolia or Kazakhstan or Uzbekistan or China or.
You've seen any black people?
I've rarely seen black people. And when I do see black people, actually, I've seen a few. I would say it's half and half. So I would say there have been Western black people and African black
Right.
people.
Did they ever talk to you?
No, I've said hi and I've spoken to a few, but it's not like encounters I recount
Or you're
very
not
well.
giving your address?
What do you mean?
You're not sitting down to get like a bowl
No,
of
it's just
fufu?
like a passing kind of like, hi, what's up, kind of like, how's it going?
Right.
Kinda. But and especially you don't really have time to talk. It's just like that time where you're just getting ready to sit down.
Right.
But it's interesting to see that you don't get as many Westerners taking the test,
No.
and I would guess because there's really no motive for them to take the
Yeah,
test.
there's no benefit for them to take it.
Right. The only time that I would see them, like I'd expect them to take it, I could see them taking it is just to kind of check their progress and how well they're doing in Korean.
Yeah.
There's no like, oh, if I don't take it, everything, my life hinges on it kind of. So I'm kind of in a very unique situation. The fact that my visa depends on me maintaining a good topic
And you
score.
refuse to marry a Korean.
And I refuse to marry a Korean, and I refuse to do that
because
traditional
most
method which most
Westerners-
foreigners do.
Yeah, most Westerners, especially not like foreigners, but most Westerners, if they want to stay in Korea long term, will marry a Korean because that's the most easiest avenue to get a visa and stable visa. Whereas non-Western foreigners, they really don't have that kind of option. Sure, they'll marry Korean, but I feel like they're kind of at a disadvantage. I feel like because Koreans I think, don't really have the same, they don't wear the same kind of like glasses that they wear or look at people from the West. But so for them, they have to be part of the Korean society if they want to survive in Korea. Like there's no option for them. And a lot of them will speak English. I mean, they can speak English, but English isn't really their that's like maybe a second or third language for them.
It's not the go-to language.
Yeah, it's not a go-to language for them, and so they don't really have that English privilege that Westerners kind of just take for granted, where
Right.
they kind of go places and people just kind of speak English to you, right?
Right.
Yeah. Whereas if you're Vietnamese or you're from person from Mongolia, like you speak in English, you can, but they might not understand your accent, or they'll probably look at you like, oh, why don't you speak Korean? Like, it's weird. When they see a Westerner, they don't expect you to speak Korean, but when they see an Asian, they're kind of like, oh, you should know Korean or something, or they kind of have a higher expectation.
I would actually say that puts them in a better position to learn the language.
Yeah.
I've gone on the Korean integration program, and the foreigners who are from China, from Mongolia, and so on and so forth, they're speaking, like, Korean speaking level is really good.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And
Right.
I guess because of that not pressure, but more that expectation kind of pushes them to learn the language.
Right.
Whereas us, there is really no need. The fact that, like, let's take your situation, for instance. You've been here for a very long time, and the fact that it's not that you're doing it out of necessity, you're just doing it because you feel like you want to do it.
Yeah.
Finally, you're coming around to taking your first test.
Yeah. So that's also another thing we were, I guess we can kind of talk about and focus on a little bit, is the fact that why am I taking it? Because let's be real, you having carrying on a certificate that says your language skill is like this doesn't really benefit you unless there's something that you need it for, right? Because Koreans are not gonna take TOEFL if they didn't have to take, if they didn't need, if the university or country or wherever workplace doesn't require it, right? But it does. So for me, I don't need it because in terms of visas, like I have enough points. I have enough points for the visa, but it's more of a personal like challenge where I'm like, you know what? I've been here long enough. I've never really studied Korean. I've never went to a school. Never really self-taught either. And so I was like, okay, let me just try this one time and see how it goes. And I guess I'm coming at it with less stress and less urgency compared to the other people who would probably be sitting on this test where they're like, damn, I need to pass this test or I need to get a certain level because if I don't, I lose out.
I'm screwed
in scholarship or this job opportunity or whatever it is, right? So they're a little bit more stressed.
Right.
Whereas for me, I'm just kind of coming in. I'm just like,
chill.
I'm probably gonna bomb it,
but at the end,
because I'm gonna just try my best and see where it takes me. But most Westerners will not take that test.
No, I've never
they will almost never take
it. Of all the Westerners that I know, like currently now, I don't know a single person who knows about the topic, like experience wise.
I know some girls.
And then that's the second thing.
That I work
with. The second thing I want to get to. The only foreigners I've come across taking it are usually the girls.
Yeah, it's usually the girls.
Yeah, I've never really seen any dude be talking about, I'm taking the topic.
Okay, that's like a whole nother thing, but I'll probably dip my toes into this thing. But here's my theory, and I think it's pretty true. The reason why a lot of Western women speak Korean so much better than the male.
Much better.
Their level is like, I'm always shocked when I see like a white Norwegian, blue-eyed, blonde hair just speaking like Korean. And I think K-pop plays a huge role in drama. So they like Korean, I guess, culture. Not really like, it is culture, but like entertainment, Korean entertainment. And so for them to understand what their oppa or their nunas or their favorite girl band is trying to say, Onni, whatever.
Yeah.
They study it, right?
Yeah.
And also, when they do come to Korea, if they're not really into maybe dating other Westerners, they're like everybody else want to start relationships with Koreans. But if you dating a Korean man, most often they don't really speak English that well, or the English is very limited compared to Korean women. Like, you can find a Korean woman, like I'm telling you this right now, if you're ever in Korea and you want to talk to somebody in English and you need like help in English to navigate something, go to a girl.
Man, I always talk to the dudes. The dudes are always all over me.
No, I mean go to the girls, because more often than not, that girl is gonna be able to understand you, and be able to communicate better than a guy.
I feel like you need to kind of nuance this. If you're a dude, just like be careful. Yeah, because a lot of the girls are very shy. Koreans are very shy on the street. They don't usually take well to people approaching them randomly. Yeah. But in terms of like you go to a shop or something and you want someone to explain something to, yeah, the girls are very helpful. Yeah. Like places, especially places like Olive Young or like makeup stores, for instance, where you don't know what brand is good and so on and so forth. They're very open to explaining things to. But just like on the street, just walking up to a random stranger, yeah, just be careful.
Well, yeah, obviously, don't be a creep about
don't be that dude. But yeah.
Regardless, I guess women in general are just better at learning languages, to be honest, I would say. But yeah, anyway, let's kind of...
As a dude, I would kind of disagree with that.
I honestly think more women, on average, speak foreign languages than guys.
Yes, on average,
and
but
better too.
No, but so. Okay, I'll give you an example.
Okay.
Who mostly appears on the Abnormal Summit? Who's always appeared?
It's men.
It's always men, right?
But that's Korean.
So that's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is select men, though not high in number, tend to learn the language all the way through to the end.
No.
I've not Adam. I've rarely seen like fluent woman in Korea. Like they learn to a good level, but it's never like it's drama level. Like it's not like deep level. It's like surface level stuff.
You're thinking about academic.
I'm not talking about academic. I'm talking about societal, cultural, deep stuff.
Like
it's
what?
always the dudes who do that. Although they're few in number. Like when I was in my Korean class, the girls rocked that. Like they were really good at expressing their emotions and whatnot. But when it came to deep stuff, like it was always that one or two dudes.
Yeah. So you're talking. Okay. So you're looking at the academic. When I'm
not looking at academic. I'm looking more about like real stuff. Like the pulp of the juice.
Let me kind of break it down then. On average, when are you ever going to need to use those so-called deep knowledge?
No, but here's the thing. For me, when I say you've learned and mastered the language, I'm not talking about just the language. It goes deeper than that. You got to know the culture. You got to learn the nuances and so on and so forth.
I would say the women are more in tune with Korean culture than the dudes.
No, not in my experience.
I think so. I think
not in my experience. No.
Nope. Well, okay, give me an example. What do you mean?
Just like the show I told you. What's the show usually talking about?
Okay, that show, first of all, you got to take a look at it from a broader perspective. You take a step back.
They talk about social issues, right?
No, but the fact that
usually
it was
like they had another example.
They had an all-female cast way back.
Okay.
But what they did with that program was they kind of focused too much on the women's looks and exoticism, okay? And which it didn't really, or the women on that show weren't really selected for their
language
capability, debating skills, whatnot. They were like, you're kind of hot, you can speak some Korean, and you're exotic looking.
But that's another thing.
Welcome.
I feel because of that, they get a pass in terms of the language level expected. And then when it comes to a person calling themselves fluent in a language, I'm looking for fluency. And I've yet to see a lot of women who are fluent, but I've seen tons of dudes who are fluent. And then the second part, when it comes to, so you talked about academics. I don't know the academic sides as much because academic, I could care less, because when it comes to studying and real life Korean, I feel like you need to really distinguish between these two, because you can see it in a reverse form where Koreans will learn English for tests and yet not be able to string two sentences together. That's the reason I don't look at academics. I look at more who's able to do real life things. I'm talking about who can go to the bank, deal with that kind of situation, who can deal with housing situation.
Easily.
No,
Easily.
I've like people who do get like people who are like doers who get things done in Korean, I feel it's mostly men.
I don't think so.
Like, here's another example. Although you may not agree with it, who sets up like businesses, Korean businesses in Korea, typically?
But you don't really need a language skill that high.
Oh yeah, you kind of do to like attract Korean customers. You kind of do.
What are you talking about? Money speaks for itself. Like Koreans are gonna go where if there's money, there's not a lot of language communication passing through, right?
To understand Korean consumers, I feel you really need to understand Korean culture and society.
Most of the foreigners are not even catering to Koreans. They're mostly catering to Westerners.
I'm talking about foreigners who cater to Korean customers.
Which is tiny. I can't even think of one.
Which is why I'm saying, give me foreign women who do the same.
No, but my thing is,
I've never seen a foreign businesswoman who speaks Korean and caters to Korean customers. I've never seen
but I'm not using that as a benchmark.
This is just one example.
That's not
one of many.
For me. My way of showcasing that women are better at Korean, foreign women are better at Korean, is the fact that you look at the life that these that they live. So more often than not, I like, you think about this too. When a foreign man marries a Korean, what are the likelihood that women speaks pretty good?
It's high.
High. Let's think about the women.
Pretty good isn't fluent for me.
No, but let's look at
I'm
the women.
talking about fluent.
Look at the woman. When she is married to a Korean man, what is the likelihood of that guy can kind of speak English well or decent? Is it higher or lower than a woman?
High, but nowadays I do find it's pretty high with especially
compared to the women.
What do you mean compared to the women?
Compared to the Korean
when you're
women,
talking about intermediate level, of course, Korean women win by a high, far margin.
Like the fact that because look, the responsibility lies more with the women in marriage when it comes to Korean society in terms of dealing with the families and schools. With being out with there's a lot of communication
again when it comes to the marriage side. Women who've been married long time to Koreans and men who've been married to long time to Korean, women on average do better, but in both cases I don't feel that they're fluent. The second point I agree with is
what is fluent? You didn't even describe what is fluent in your word. What is
fluent? Is you're fluent in a language. You don't have issues talking that language.
They don't have an issue. Why would they have issue?
But they talk basic, like a child level. I'm talking about using high level vocabulary, like common, like the way we're talking English. We're able to understand like news topics and so on and so forth.
So if somebody's speaking
basic, if you're fluent in a language, are you gonna have issue understanding the news? Are you gonna have issues reading a book?
Yes, because I would say we were talking about this earlier. How we were watching Piers Morgan.
That's Charlotte and Gab. That's a unique example. No. That's not regular news.
No, he speaks fluently.
He speaks jargon. And news is different.
But jargon. But to kind of distinguish jargon, you need to be fluent in the language. Yes.
No. Not everyone knows specialized language because I might not be a scientist.
But
you might know science, but I might not know it.
Is it not fluent?
No, that isn't fluency. Fluency for me is
because why? It has cultural context, right? It's heavy context, right? And you need heavy knowledge of the words because you need to know what these words represent in certain situations, and when they're said with certain tones, can have very different meanings, right? But
nuances, right? Understanding nuances is very important. Understanding things like common proverbs, adverbs, and so on and so forth. These idioms.
Idioms are not like you have your average English speaking person and some idiom. You think they're gonna know what the hell it means, right? They're not gonna know. And a lot of idioms are very cultural, or region based or whatever, right?
Oh, region based. Okay, now that's where we get into dialects too.
Okay, but my point is, you get your average Joe who's sitting at home eating his dinner.
Here's the thing.
Microwave dinner, right? He just had a hard time in the coal mines, and he turns on Fox News or CNN. And Fox News is very dumbed down. But let's say he turns on BBC.
I see where you're going with this.
You think
I see where you're going with this.
Same language, but BBC speaks in a higher level of English, I would say, compared to Fox News. Like American English is true. It's very simple. They repeat words very repetitive, right, at the base level. But it's the same
I'll
language.
give you, when I say
understand
understand the news, I'm talking about understanding the general gist of things. There's a hurricane expected to come tonight.
So you're telling me these women don't even
Like,
know what that means?
I'm telling you, when it comes to news Korean, a lot of foreigners have zero clue. I'm telling you right now, a lot of foreigners don't know that.
You know what?
Like, personally, me, it took me a while of practice to start understanding the news.
You know what we're gonna do? I think I have a very good experiment for future podcasts.
That's fine.
You get your 3 men. You pick 3 men.
No, I don't know them personally.
No. It doesn't matter. You just find 3 men, okay, who speak Korean. I'm gonna find 3 women
who speak
that
Korean?
They speak Korean. We'll test them in terms of news and whatever you think that indicate. Test them on idioms, and we'll see who comes out with flying colors.
That's fine.
I'm putting my money on the women. Let's go, girl team.
That's fine,
Yeah.
but I'm talking from experience, personal experience, my point of view, and I've met a lot of foreigners.
My experience has been women have been dominating.
Okay, and I wanted to agree with you on a second point, which is
a lot more.
When it comes to the topic exam and when it comes to the Korean integration program, majority of people, 90%, it's women. 90%.
Oh yeah, because they're the ones studying.
And the women do much better in terms of results from what I've seen.
But that kind of goes across the board between any languages. Women always do better than men.
When it comes to doing like real life stuff, I feel men dominate this area.
But those real life stuff that you mentioned, like business, I feel like that doesn't really
journalism, all these aspects.
It's like saying like some guy who just moved to America, like a few weeks or a few months, opened a business, but he can barely speak the language, where his wife speaks it fluently.
You seem very focused on business. I'm talking about all aspects, all areas.
I'm telling you, women on average have better accents, are clearer, are more
okay, here's the thing. When it comes to foreigners who speak Korean, I've yet to find a single foreigner who has, for me, clears that accent pass.
I mean, accent is accent.
Yeah, right? So, and then that's the thing. So when it comes to like 100% fluency, to the point where I can't distinguish between whether the person's a foreigner or a Korean. Now, I've never met any foreigner who's reached that bar. Like, even the ones that appear on TV, if I were to close my eyes, I'd immediately know they're a foreigner. There was a kind of like, do you know, like Jubilee style?
Yeah.
The YouTube channel. There was kind of that kind of style YouTube program which I watched like way back, where they invited a bunch of foreigners, and within them they put one Korean, and they wanted to see who could, like, they would bring a blindfolded Korean, if the Korean person could identify the real Korean person just through listening. And one of the guys who thought he was fluent got really upset because he was like, yeah, you're not Korean, kind of, and he was pretty mad about it. And
why would he be mad?
I don't know, he took it real personal. And I guess for some foreigners it's like, I put in all this effort and I did all of this,
and that's one thing people do.
And so learning a language can take another form, is what I want to get to, where people get engulfed with this idea, yeah, I'm gonna finally reach that goal, like, you know, that perfect complete status of I'm that entity now, that Korean speaker kind of, and it's something I've never aimed for personally. Because for me, like, you know, you've known me, I've never really studied. I only study like literally a day before the exam.
I feel it's like a status or kind of thing.
Yeah, so for them, for some people, it's a very serious matter when it comes to being given that pass of, yeah, you're good at Korean from a Korean like native speaker.
I feel like it's because they have nothing else going on.
Possibly. I mean, so it could be a range of reasons why. Anyways, let's quickly get back to this topic of the topic.
Well, anyway, let's kind of
let's finish off.
Yeah. So basically, how long is the test?
So the test is out. I think it's like 3 hours. I don't remember. Hold on.
Straight.
No, it's like so. It's split into 3 parts. There's the listening. There's the reading. So the listening is like 50 questions. The reading is like another 50 questions, and these are all multiple choice questions. And then if you're doing the 3 to 6, there's a writing section.
You don't have to do it if you don't want to?
No, you have to. It's worth a lot of marks.
Yeah, but so you're not aiming for like...
No, but you need to attempt because it counts for a lot of marks. If you want to reach level 3, you need to get like 120 out of like, what, 200 and...
Damn, that's a lot.
I don't remember. 200 or 240, I don't know,
That's
points.
A lot.
And so for the writing, I feel like it's like 40, not 40%. It's like if speaking and reading, either way, it's worth a lot of marks. So it's in your interest to do well in a writing, and especially writing easily. If you learn certain grammar forms and ways to write sentences and how to end the sentences, and a few like things like first, secondly, thirdly, in conclusion, those kind of words. Therefore, furthermore, I think you could easily gain a lot of points. And also writing about the topic that they asked you. If you go off into something else, it's a problem. And especially with the writing section, you have different sections. Like it starts off easy, like complete the sentence with a suitable word, and then complete the sentence using a suitable expression, more like now you have to put in a sentence, and then you have your short answer, and then you have the big chunk, which is your long answer. And so writing, don't think it's not a lot, so do it, get it done. And the rest is multiple choice. You're given like this chart kind of sheet where you fill in with a pencil, you ink the dot, you paint in the dot. Yeah, and so you gotta do that.
And so how do they seat you? You sitting at a single desk?
Right, and so you need to bring your ID card with your name exactly as you registered on it.
Yeah.
And it's assigned, you're assigned your seat. And so you go to your seat, and before you start the test, they do an ID check just to make sure that everyone's who they are. Because there's been so many cases of people cheating.
Well, yeah.
So it's two types of cheating. It's either someone comes and takes the test for you, or you bring some kind of device or some form of way to cheat. And what they do is they always take your devices beforehand, and they always tell you, if we catch you with a device, it's done for, like, you're not taking the test again for I don't know how long, but yeah, don't expect to be able to take the test anytime soon. And after they do that, then you have several rooms, right, within the university, and everyone starts exactly at the same time. There's like a loudspeaker that goes beep, and then it's like, all right, now you may open the test.
And when you're done, what do you do?
And when you're done, basically, it's like, all right, they tell you, like, we got 10 minutes, we got 5 minutes, all right, last minute, all right, close the test. If we see anyone still writing, we're going to basically confiscate it, or I don't remember what the consequence was, but they come, they collect it, you stay in your seats until all of them are taken, and then they dismiss you by rows.
Oh, interesting.
And so because they don't want like to jam up the place, because remember, people have to pick up their bags and their phone that they basically gave in, so it's like done part by part. If you're doing like the culture test, after doing those parts, there's also the interview, where then now you line up again to wait for like a short interview with another person where you go in pairs. But this is like another test for like the integration program. But with the topic, this is it. And so you do that, and whole in whole, I feel usually it takes around 3 hours.
Right.
And so it's a pretty big deal, like 3 hours where you're working intense. You can bring your water, that's fine. You can only bring your water, pen, pencil, and
you can't go to the bathroom?
No, you can go to the bathroom, but you're escorted. And I think you get like people don't usually go to the bathroom, but you can.
Okay.
There's always people like that test, what do you call it, invigilators.
What do you mean they walk you to the bathroom?
Of course.
What do you mean they watch you piss?
This is a serious test.
They watch you piss?
What do you expect? This is a serious test.
What if he likes what he sees?
Well, deal with it. It's a serious test.
He's going to have to deal with it.
I know.
Because it's pretty big.
I know, right?
Just
deal with it. Right.
You know.
So you get the job done.
So even in the stalls too?
And then you got to get the job done.
There's no way in hell he's going to tell you to open that door up.
Listen.
Once he smells what's cooking, I don't think he's going to be
able
to handle it. I'm telling you,
they are with you. So you take that chance of needing to go to the bathroom.
There's no way in hell he's going to be able to withstand a smell.
I'm telling
when
you.
This person had 3 servings of chili, all right, with the side of curry. Like, there's no way in hell.
Well, this is what they're getting paid for, right?
I mean, they're not
this
paid
what they
to
sign up
suffer
for, right?
through biological warfare. Like, who kind of like
sign
up for that
you
shit?
Buy the ticket, right? You go to the game.
And so, basically, they give you a result like a month later, more or less.
Oh, the result comes out like a bit longer than that. It takes like a month and a half.
Yeah, it takes a while.
Yeah, so our results, so the test will be on the 19th of January. The results are coming out on the 27th of February.
Yeah.
So, and you check that online. The test is there for 2 years before it expires.
Yeah.
Before you have to do it again. And so, especially like in my case, where
I don't think I'm gonna do it
it's
again.
like,
To be honest. I think this is one and done for me.
Yeah, I personally I feel this is the last one. The fact that the integration program holds up my visa for me now, yeah, it's a good deal. But
but either way, let's kind of wrap it up because we've been talking way too long. I hope that kind of helped everybody in their journey.
Yeah.
And wondering what the topic test is. If you want,
if you're looking to get a job in Korea, make sure you get a topic level 5 out of 6.
You can always leave us a comment, and maybe one of us can kind of answer more in depth. But until then, thank you for listening.
And we'll see you next time.
Yeah, keep on walking.